We know who doesn't have recording rights. Perfect. So everything should be fine. So we could go ahead and proceed. We're basically going through the PowerPoint presentation. Then afterwards, we'll be going into a technical demo. So little company background on Acunetix. So it was founded in 2005. We are the pioneer leader in automated security testing. And we do offer a dynamic solution that's capable of handling any company size. So it being a small, medium, or large organization. In fact, some of our customer portfolios varies from Visa, Panasonic, Deloitte, Cisco, NASA, Coca-Cola, and so on. The business benefits. So initially, Kinetics is a black box, the dust scanning. But through technologies, we have also involved gray box scanning, client side, and also out of band web application security scanning. We are capable of detecting over 6,500 web vulnerabilities and 50,000 network vulnerabilities together with malware scanning. Acunetix is available on Windows and Linux, and now, just recently, we have also supported the ability to install it on Mac machine. So how does Acunetix work? So there are major three pillars: define, fix, prevent. So the define section, this will basically allows you to crawler starts to analyze the entire target starting from the URL and mapping out the structure. In parallel, scanner tests crawled pages for vulnerabilities and assesses engine ranks vulnerabilities based on the potential impact. The fix state, basically this is where you'll get the vulnerabilities which were discovered. You provide a real-time dashboard. You can easily navigate and filter throughout your results. You can even report the vulnerability scan based on standard or compliance reports, such as the OWASP Top 10, the HIPAA, the PSI, the SS, and the ISO. These are available in both PDF and also HTML format. In the prevent section, on the other hand, this is where we basically have the ability to also export the discovered vulnerabilities, or let's say push discovered vulnerabilities to the out-of-box issue trackers that we support, such as the GitLab, the GitHub, Mantis, Bugzilla, Jira, and TFS. We also have one out-of-the-box CI/CD implementation with Jenkins, but we also have our custom API system that basically allows you to integrate, let's say, make use of it of any let's say platform that we do not support out of the box. Now, vulnerabilities which have been set as fixed have been retested and are still exploitable will be changed to rediscovered. This will ensure that each vulnerability will go from discovered to remediation verified. Lastly, we also have the ability to export discovered vulnerabilities to the most popular web application firewall, such as the F5 Big IP, the Fortinet FortWeb, the Imperva Secure Sphere, and also the Citrix, recently introduced. So what are our flagship technologies in Acunetix V13? So we do have our Deep Scan, our SmartScan, our AccuSensor, network scanning, AccuMonitor, malware detection, incremental scanning, proof of exploit, a user-friendly interface, and a range of other new features. So let's start with the Deep Scan. Deep Scan basically powers the Acunetix crawling. It uses a Chromium driver, which is robust and supports various platforms such as HTML5 applications, AngularJS, React.js. It also executes JavaScript like a normal browser will, scans for malicious URLs, and can also work hand in hand with our login sequence recorder to crawl password protected areas. Our smart scanning. Our smart scan will first evaluate the web application before scanning. It will perform a prioritization check on web pages which are based unique. Those pages which are unique will be given a higher prioritization and will be scanned first, and therefore by doing this sorting technique we'll be benchmarking 80% of the vulnerabilities in the first 20% of the scanning. Our AccuMonitor, basically this is included in Acunetix and it works in the background. It serves as an intermediate service to detect out-of-band web vulnerabilities. Out-of-band vulnerabilities account for vulnerabilities that don't provide a response to the scanner during the testing, such as blind cross-site scripting, out-of-bound SQL injection, host header injection, and email header injection. The AccuSensor is basically our server-side component. It basically would need to be installed on the web server side, and this is an optional feature. It basically performs graybox scanning, basically an IS tool, and it inspects source code during execution, not just a static scan. Now, the vulnerabilities of the AccuSensor is that it links vulnerability to the exact source code line number. It increases the crawl coverage since it is a component closer to the backend side, and since it is a gray box scanning, it also reduces the false positive. And the AccuSensor is available for PHP, .NET, and Java web applications. So how does the AccuSensor work? So on the image that we have on the side, so we have the Acunetix, which will send a request to the web application. In fact, it will send an SQL injection, which has the AccuSensor installed. That SQL query will reach the database, provide a response back to the application, and the extensor afterwards could validate if it is a vulnerability or not, and will push back will push back the response to the Acunetix machine. And these are the vulnerabilities that the extensor can 100% verify if they are in fact truly present in your web application. The network scanning. So to check the security for your network services and devices, one of the most established and best network security tool in the world is an open source tool called OpenVAS. In fact, it roots back all the way to 1998, and Necnetics can closely integrate with OpenVAS, making it even easier to use than ever. It's capable of detecting over 50,000 network vulnerabilities, such as brute force attack, port scanning, and netware. And this is available on both on-prem and also on cloud version of Acunetix. The malware scanning. So Acunetix can work in conjunction with antivirus engines to check for malware on your site. So in this case, we're using Google and Yandex Public Malware DBS. For Windows, we're using Windows Defender to perform the malware scan, while for Linux, we're using ClamAV. The proof of exploit. So any data that can be retrieved from the database in a non-destructive way will be shown in the report. Therefore, the proof of exploit indicates that Acunetix is 100% confident that the vulnerability exists and is not a false positive. And this is available for the vulnerabilities listed in the valid for section. And as we're seeing from the screenshot, so certain vulnerabilities that are listed in the valid for section will be then provide you with an extra level of response in the proof of exploit section. Incremental scanning. So performing scans on pages that have been changed or modified from the previous scans only. So therefore, if you're setting up frequency scanning, the first time it will scan the whole application, but the second scan will only scan that pages that will be changed or modified. In this case, we can see that page 3 and page 4 has scanned compared to the first scan. So we'll only be scanning those pages as informed. Kinetics new user interface. We basically have redone the UI from the ground up again. It is basically now more modern, more intuitive, and it is basically based on the feedback from our current customers. Great. So let's continue with the demo now. So in the dashboard section, we'll have a clear indication of all the high, medium, low severity vulnerabilities that we have present, together with the total scans running, total scans waiting, total scans conducted, open vulnerabilities, and total targets. We'll also have the most vulnerable targets and top vulnerabilities. And if we scroll further down, we'll also have a visual representation of our activity using Acunetix in a monthly basis. To add a target, in fact, it's quite easy. In this case, we're going to use one of our test PHP website to conduct the scanning. We're going to go in the add target section, enter the target. Let's give it a description so like testing. And then we could assign this target into a specific target group or groups. Now, the benefit of inserting a target into a target group is that you can also create a user, create his password, provide him a role, and then assign that user into a specific target group or target groups. So therefore, he will only be able to access those targets which are located into his group and can only execute certain commands based on his role. So in the target section, we can configure all of the scanning configuration, such as the business criticality. So how important is this target for you? The scanning speed. So we have the fast, moderate, slow, and slower. So how fast you would like to initiate your scanning. And difference between each of the scanning phase would be number of requests that we send and the delays in their fall between those requests. The site login, the authentication section. So we have the auto login, the pre-record login sequence, and recently we have also introduced OAuth 2 authentication. In this case, just give you a simple preview of the pre-record login sequence. Just replicate on how to perform the login sequence recorder. So we're going to replicate how the user normally logs in, going in the sign up page, entering the username, the password, and click login. And now we are authenticated. Now if we press next, we can then restrict the logout button. And lastly would be the session detection. So the ability to provide a valid session. So therefore the user will be able to validate whether he is, sorry, the scanner will be able to validate whether he is authenticated or not based on the session captured and the response found and the pattern found in the response. Furthermore, for extra security barriers like two-factor authentication, you can also include a manual intervention step, which basically allows you to create that manual intervention so you can bypass that extra security barrier. The business logic recorder, the ability to also manually record yourself doing executing certain features, so you will be able to also have that manual touch in the scanning, so you can also discover more locations and more vulnerabilities by executing certain features which the scanner might not go through due to the fact that they require a complex data field entry. Our AccuSensor, which is our gray box scanner, this is quite important, quite popular when it comes to the certification. So make sure that you know that the AccuSensor comes in the PHP, .NET, and Java web applications, and it is a web server component side. The crawling section, so the ability to also set the site scope for this particular website. So if there's certain pages that you don't want to scan using regular expressions or through the UI. Import files, so the ability to also precede your scan, giving the scanner a head start. And this can be mostly utilized when it comes to API web-based applications. HTTP authentication, so in this case, our website does have HTTP authentication. So we're just gonna insert the username and password for our website. Client certifications, so any SSL that you would like to import, any proxy configuration required. If you can also verify what type of technologies you would like your scan to be based on, or if you leave this option disabled, it will automatically detect them and basically perform the checks related to those technologies. Custom headers, including a custom value to the headers, just for example, the API token barrier key, access token, JWT token, custom cookies. Once you have also performed the integration out of the box, you can also select the issue tracker, which you can afterwards manually push those vulnerabilities to. Allowed host, so adding an additional website as part of your hosting to basically increase the site scope. Excluding hours, so selecting when you would like to exclude scanning. Let's say no weekends, or except working hours, or allow from 9 till 5. And lastly would be the scanning engine. So the ability to also install Acunetix engines on different machines connected to the main installation, so you can also run internal scanning. Once that has been configured, we can go in the scanning section we can select what type of scan we would like to initiate. So first of all, is that we have also have the ability to also um, run network scans and also full scan. So full scan will consist of all the web vulnerability checks together with other default vulnerabilities templates that you can use. You could also select what type of reporting you would like to initiate once the scan has finished. Let's say developer, since developer is the most detailed one. And lastly would be when. So either now, a future date, so today's starts on Saturday at 12:30, or a recurrent scan, so it will start on Saturday at 12:30, but after that go on daily basis, weekly basis, monthly, so setting a custom frequency. You also have the option to create the incremental scanning, so the ability to also reduce the scan time by more than 90%, as we have seen in the slides, by scanning those pages which have been changed or modified only. In this case, we're just going to initiate, can kick off an instant scan. So until the scan populates, in fact, let's go in the scan type section. So as we have seen certain templates that you could use, you can also create your own templates. So let's call it Liam's template. And you can say that Liam's template consists of CSRF, DOM, TOS, and I also prefer to have some SQL injections. And click Save. And if I navigate now back to my target, click Scan, I can now select Liam's template, so I'll be running a custom vulnerability checks based on my requirements. In the network scanning option, this is where I could configure OpenVAS. So I can also integrate it with my Acunetix instance, so I can run network and also web scans at the same time. Issue tracking, so creating an issue tracker configuration integration. So therefore, you'll be able to push vulnerabilities from Acunetix to another platform. Now, out of the box, we do offer integration with GitHub, GitLab, Jira, Azure TFS, Bugzilla, and also Mantis. Email settings, so creating your SMTP configuration to receive email notifications once, let's say, product updates, targets notifications, scans notifications, reports, and report as an attachment together with monthly status updates. The engine section, the ability to also include the engine that you would like, the engine that you have integrated with, together with the endpoint they are located and with the status. In this case, my engines are offline. Exclude hours, so creating your own custom excluding hours based on when you would like to scan. And last would be the proxy settings. So the ability, if you have a proxy configuration required, you can also set up the proxy so Acunetix can connect over to the network. If you navigate to the vulnerability section, we'll have all the vulnerabilities in this case which are open. So we do have a filter bar. We could filter based on status, confidence, business criticality, target group, severity, targets, and vulnerability types. In this case, we have a clear view of all the open vulnerabilities. In this case, let's search by target and let's check our scan that we have initiated. So the moment these are vulnerabilities which are detected in our target. And if we open cross-site scripting, let's say, we'll also have the URL, the parameter, the attack detail, the vulnerability description, the request which was sent together with the response and the response highlighting, the impact, how to fix it, classifications, and detailed information together with web references. Now for vulnerabilities that are 100% confidence level, we'll also include our Acunetix stamp. It's basically verifying that this is in fact a web vulnerability. But furthermore, there are other technologies that you could use in order to verify this, such as, for example, the SQL injection. The SQL injection basically provides you with the exact source code line number and also the load, in this case, the SQL query, which triggered the SQL injection. Another cool feature that we have discussed, basically these three features are mainly, let's say, you can associate them for false positive, for reducing false positive. We have the proof of exploit. Since if you have proof, it's like normal when you go to, let's say, to a judge, to court. If you have proof that someone does something, there's more probability. It's a base state that this is true, and based you have proof of how it was done. In this case, same goes with vulnerability checks. So we do have some for certain vulnerabilities, the proof of exploit giving you a certain extra confidence that this is in fact not a false positive and is in fact a vulnerability. You can also change the vulnerability status. So in this case, it's open, but you can also change it to fixed. Now, if we navigate to our fixed vulnerabilities, we'll have the vulnerability that we have just changed. Now, to confirm the vulnerability is in fact truly fixed, you can click on retest. The retest button, if we navigate to our dashboard, will basically allow us to retest that particular vulnerability check. In this case, we're rechecking for redirect directed reversal. If we select multiple vulnerabilities, in fact, we can also push them to our issue tracker. And until G loads a little bit, let me just go in this scanning section, in fact. Looks like it failed, so let me just open a proper one. So once the scan has finished, you will also have notifications if Windows Defender is being used. Or in this case, if you're using the AccuSensor, you also get notification that the AccuSensor is being used. You also have the total scan duration, so how much time has taken, the total request time, around in this case, they're all the total request, yeah, and the average response time, which is in milliseconds, and total locations, together with the target information, latest alerts, and also discovered host. In the vulnerability section, we have all the vulnerabilities which were discovered with the status and also with the confidence level. In the site structure, on the other hand, we'll have all the blueprint, basically the site locations which were detected during our crawling and scanning. And as I said, you could also exclude certain levels of the website using the exclude button by the site. So now if we navigate back to our target, we see those locations excluded accordingly. Following on the reporting, as we said, we have also the ability to export discovered web vulnerabilities to the most popular web application firewalls, such as the Imperfect Secure Sphere, the F5 Big IP, the Fortinet FortWeb, the Citrix Web Firewall, and we also can generate multiple number of reports, either standard or compliance, which are available in PDF and also in HTML format. Okay. Now following on the Jira integration issue tracker, so as we have pushed certain vulnerabilities from Acunetix to Jira, we then can detect them. In fact, 3 minutes ago, we can detect them and track them on our Jira platform, which will consist of target URL, the severity, the effects, the attack details, the vulnerability description, impact, remediation, and also references. Okay, great. Any questions by any chance? If you would like, you can also include your questions in the checkbox before we proceed to the last and final short PowerPoint presentation. Looks like everyone is okay. So at the last part, will if you can make it more we'll try to make it as interactive as possible. We'll be going some of the general questions which might come to your examination just to prepare you to ensure that you are fully prepared. So, in fact, let me just open a second. Okay, so the first question is how can web application vulnerability affect an organization? Option 1, financial loss. Option 2, data loss. Option 3, denial of service. And option 4, all of the above. The 20 is too much. Let's make it 15 seconds or 10 seconds. Yeah, this one is better. Yes, in fact, okay, yes, we do have, yes, option 4 is the correct answer. So the correct answer is all of the above. Going on to the next question. So which of the following can be considered to be an injection attack? Option 1, cross-site scripting request forgery. Option 2, directed reversal. Option 3, cross-site scripting. And option 4, cross-origin sharing. Okay, we are getting some feedback from Elena, Pablo, Mohammed. Option 3, option 2. So everyone seems to be under the same option 3. So if we and the correct answer is in fact option 3, yes. So basically what considered to be injection attack in this case would be cross-site scripting, which is the best way to protect against SQL injection attack on the other hand. Option 1, escaping malicious characters, use of parameterized SQL queries, identify malicious user input using regular expressions, or blacklisting malicious characters. Abhidhamma said number 2, Clayton said number 3, Probo said number 2. Okay, so we do have a variety of little change. Mohammed then said number 2. That's the time. So the correct answer is number 2. So use of parameters SQL query. So before even just inserting those characters directly to your database, you should parameterize them, filterize them, sanitize them, so it will remove special characters. What could be a good average response time for a web application scan? Less than 200, less than 500, less than 900, or less than 1000. So everyone seems to be on the same page and is saying option number 1, so it's less than 200. And in fact, yes, you are all correct. The answer is less than 200 milliseconds. Acunetix specific or specific, if I like to say it. What the kinetics can be used for? SAS scanning, scan mobile application, scan network for advanced persistent threats, or scan for web applications. Okay, so everyone was on the same page and you're all correct. So scanning for web vulnerabilities. How is the accumulator enabled? Contacting a kinetic support, showing the file in the root of application. Accumulator is enabled by registering to the service when activating the license key, or Kinetic does not have the accumulator. Perfect. Everyone seems to be also on the same page here. So in fact, Accumulator is enabled by registering for our services. Exactly. As we said, this is including the Kinetics once installation. Exactly. What is the fastest way of verifying your fix is correct? Enabling continuous scanning for the target, rerun the scan using incremental scanning, use the Kinetics retest feature, or manually verifying the vulnerabilities. So we have Clayton and Angel, so that's number 2, Pablo, Stefan, says number three, Mohammed Saya. So it's number two, number three. So someone would think you got it incorrect because correct answer is number three. So kudos to those who got it correct, but those who don't understand the concept, let me just go through it very quickly. So the fastest way of basically verifying if the vulnerability is in fact fixed or not. If number two, using the incremental scanning, you are basically reducing the scan time by more than 90%, but still you're going to scan, let's say, the whole page for all the vulnerabilities. In this case, the retest feature would be just running a scan on that particular vulnerability check for that particular page. So in fact, it's more efficient. Which report contains the most detailed and technical information? Developer report, OWASP Top 10, compliance report, affected items report, PCI and DSS compliance reporting. Everyone ate this question alive, looks like. Yes, correct answer is in fact number one. The correct answer is developer report. What is the first thing that Acunetix does when scanning a web application? So run vulnerability exploit scripts, crawl the site, analyze SQL statements used by the application, or enabled smart scanning. Great. And the correct answer is in fact number two. So crawling the site before even starting scanning. So we can basically set up the site structure for the site locations. Which of the following ensures that the site is correctly crawled? The structure identified by the crawler matches the structure of the website, run multiple scans, the server responds only with 100 to 100 status codes, the server's average response time is less than 100 milliseconds. Okay, so everyone's saying number one. And the correct answer is in fact number one. So basically, if you have the sitemap in Acunetix, you'll be able to identify if the application had been scanned correctly or not. What is the verified vulnerability mean? A vulnerability that requires manual verification, a vulnerability that Acunetix has 100% certainty, retesting the vulnerability, or is it an SQL injection? Correct answer is in fact number two. So as we said, vulnerabilities that are 100% certainty will give us the Acunetix verified stamp. Well done. So thank you for everyone for joining. If you have any specific questions, you may ask them now. We do have a little time. So also just to give you a gist of the certification training. So there is a total of 20 questions and you would require to get 16 answers correct to pass your examination. I'm going to give you a link of the topics outline. We did cover, let's say, the majority today, so most of them are all covered. Okay, so I'm gonna send you the certification outline, basically which has topics. We have basically went through the fundamentals, how to configure a target, login sequence, ACI sensor, ACI motor, starting a scan, crawling, scanning, vulnerability management, reporting, general settings, and also touch some of the manual tools and also some of the web security concept. So where to get the certification? So you would need to contact your partner or let's say your account manager that basically you are communicating with from the Acunetix side, so we can send you the examination link. The web export. So basically, Acunetix can export discovered vulnerabilities in the most popular web application firewall, as we said, as a temporary workaround until you properly fixed your vulnerabilities on your website. It looks like I sent it to only one person, the link. Let me just send it again. Is it possible to get link for the recording? Yes. So this meeting, in fact, was recorded. Looks like maybe you joined a little late and you were not there. So in this case, okay, cool. Great. Any other questions? So Stefan did send you a private message on that one, so we can get that sorted. If there are no more further questions, I just wish to say thank you everyone for joining. I know it's Friday, so let's keep it. I know let's get the work done, everyone in the office, and I know so we can enjoy the weekend. Other than that, thank you very much for your time, for your patience, and I hope that you can run through. Can we access further reading materials? Yes, Clayton, I did send you the topic outline. It does have all the topics, and if you just press on, let's say, or if you just research on the topic and just write Acunetix, you'll have a full, let's say, documents that we provide. If anyone has any further questions or further help, please don't hesitate to contact me. Other than that, thank you very much for everyone and have a nice day.